Today, we're diving into a really shocking story from the heart of the used car industry. We're talking about a massive financial loss, a CEO getting the boot, and a system that might just be teetering on the edge of a meltdown. It all kicks off with this huge number, $5.2 billion. That is the staggering amount that CarMax, America's biggest used car dealer, had to write down in losses. I mean, a number so big it sent shockwaves through Wall Street. And the official story? Well, it was all framed as one catastrophic mistake. A mistake so bad that the board completely panicked, and their first move was to fire the CEO, Bill Nash, in just a desperate bid to stop the bleeding. But what if it wasn't really a mistake? What if this whole crisis actually ripped the lid off a much darker truth? And that brings us to the real high-stakes question we're tackling today. Are we literally watching the last honest company in this business get punished for telling the truth, while its rivals are getting rich off of financial illusions? Okay, so here's how we're gonna break this all down. We'll start with that massive mistake. Then we'll look back at how CarMax built its reputation as the honest player. We're gonna pinpoint when the numbers went bad compared to its biggest rival, and then zoom out to see how the whole system is under stress. And finally, what all of this actually means for you. All right, let's start with the crisis itself. The moment the market woke up and realized something was deeply, deeply wrong at CarMax. And right away, you see this paradox that just baffled investors. In a single year, CarMax's stock absolutely tanked, dropping by 50%. At the same time, its biggest competitor, Carvana, saw its stock skyrocket by 50%. I mean, how on earth could two companies in the exact same business have such wildly different outcomes? It just didn't make any sense. The board, well, they didn't wait around for an answer. Their immediate reaction was to find a fall guy, to show Wall Street they were doing something. So CEO Bill Nash was out. The message was loud and clear. The old guard had failed. Now, to really get why this was such a bombshell, you have to go back and understand what CarMax was supposed to be. For decades, its entire brand, its whole identity, was built on being different, on being the trustworthy one. See, CarMax started way back in 1993, dreamt up by executives from Circuit City. They had this radical idea to clean up the notoriously shady used car business. They went public in '97, they were an industry leader in tech by 2016, and by 2019, they were just consistently crushing it in customer satisfaction surveys. And this right here is the key to understanding them. The CarMax promise. This was their whole deal. No haggling, fixed prices, a real commitment to transparency. The whole idea was to use data to be fair and build a brand where you, the customer, felt safe, like you weren't getting taken for a ride. And you know, this wasn't just some marketing slogan they put on a poster. The early leaders hammered this rule into the company culture. It was their North Star, the entire foundation of a business built on honesty. And for a very, very long time, it really worked. Okay, so now let's talk about the exact moment that squeaky clean systems started to short circuit. This is when the data inside the company started telling a story that the folks in the boardroom really didn't want to hear. By the summer of 2024, the internal dashboards were just a sea of red. I mean, look at this. Cars were just sitting on the lots for over 70 days. The company was overpaying for used cars by an average of $1,400. And maybe most alarming, a shocking 4 out of every 10 customers were subprime, taking on loans with interest rates as high as 23%. The data scientists, they saw this train wreck coming from a mile away. On September 14th, they sent a formal memo straight to senior management, warning them that the company was staring down the barrel of $1 billion shortfall. But those warnings, they were just quietly filed away. And inside the boardroom, total paralysis. They were just clinging to this hope that things would magically get better. They debated what to do while their lenders were getting really impatient. And meanwhile, morale inside the company completely collapsed. Leaked surveys showed the lowest employee confidence scores in the company's history. Everybody was just holding their breath, waiting for the floor to fall out. And this right here is where the real mystery begins. Because to understand that $5.2 billion number, you have to look at the massive difference between how CarMax and its main rival, Carvana, handle their accounting. And folks, this slide is the absolute heart of the story. On one hand, you have CarMax, operating with what you could call brutal honesty. They use an accounting method that forces them to report every single loss right away for everyone to see. On the other hand, you have Carvana, which critics say hides its risk. They allegedly sell their riskiest loans to related companies, keeping all that bad debt off their public books and reporting these, quote, miracle numbers. So what's this rule that forced CarMax to come clean? It's called mark-to-market accounting. And it's actually pretty simple. You have to value the stuff you own at what it's worth today. So when used car prices suddenly dropped, CarMax had no choice. They had to publicly admit that their massive inventory of cars was worth billions less than what they paid. There was just no place to hide. Now, compare that to what some people are calling the Carvana shell game. The alleged strategy is to bundle up all those risky subprime loans and sell them to other companies that just happen to be controlled by the same family. Carvana gets to book a profit, the risk magically disappears from their public filings, and investors see this perfect, pristine balance sheet. The risk isn't gone, of course, it's just moved into the shadows. You know, this isn't just about accounting tricks or numbers on a spreadsheet. These kinds of decisions have very real consequences, and they're creating enormous stress for real people and for the entire auto industry. Let me tell you about the human cost here. Take the story of a guy named John, a plumber from Indiana. He needed a work truck. His credit wasn't great, so he got a loan from CarMax at almost 23% interest. But then, over time his job dried up, and he fell behind on the payments. Before he knew it, the repo man showed up before dawn, and he lost not just his truck, but his ability to get to work and make a living. And look, John is not some rare exception. This chart shows that a massive 40% of CarMax's entire loan book is made up of subprime borrowers. These are people with risky credit, the ones who are most vulnerable when the economy gets shaky. That is a huge amount of risk.
And this is not just a CarMax problem, not by a long shot. Data from the Federal Reserve confirms that all across the country, the number of people falling behind on their car payments has hit a 15-year high. John's story is being repeated in driveways everywhere, every single day.
And on top of all that, dealers are getting squeezed from a completely different angle. Automakers are doing something called channel stuffing, basically forcing dealers to buy cars they can't sell just so the manufacturers can make their own quarterly numbers look good. It's creating financial quicksand for dealerships all over the country. Okay, so let's pull this all together. Why should you care about some corporate drama at a used car company? What does it have to do with the rest of us? Well, because as one of the top industry economists puts it, the entire market is being threatened by this mountain of risky debt. That $5.2 billion loss at CarMax? It wasn't a mistake. It was the first loud public warning sign of just how bad things have gotten. They were the canary in the coal mine. So here's the bottom line. The really crucial takeaway. We have a system where the company that tells the truth gets its stock crushed and its CEO fired, while the company that allegedly hides its risk gets rewarded by Wall Street. It's a system that actively punishes being transparent. And that leaves us with one last kind of chilling question to think about. When an entire market seems to be built on financial games and hidden risks, what is the real price of telling the truth? And more importantly, who is the one who ultimately has to pay?